everybody, and welcome to TPG'S World. It is the 30th of March 2018, and I am here to make another video. So today, when I was having lunch with my father, we got into a really interesting conversation about the new Roseanne show that premiered on Tuesday. And I wanted to take this whole video to talk about the Roseanne show because Roseanne was a big part of our lives growing up. My mother loved Roseanne Barr. She loved the show. She watched it forever. So we were basically talking about how exciting Mama would have been that Roseanne was back on television again. And my dad was like, yeah. And so we got into a conversation. And as you know, Roseanne came back on Tuesday, and I thought it was fabulous. I loved it. It was funny. It was like Will and Grace. It was almost like it had never stopped. It just, you know, everybody's older, the kids are grown, they've got kids of their own, so it's a whole new set of storylines and things that they can do with the show, etc., etc., etc. So Roseanne played such a big part of my life growing up, and my mom and my dad. So my dad and I just really enjoyed having this conversation about Roseanne. But the reason it was so interesting, and I'm going to talk about it, is Roseanne and Dan Connor, to me, and my dad agreed with me today, they were the first real television family. They weren't, you know, wealthy. They were middle class to poor. They worked hard. They lived paycheck to paycheck. They had real problems, like their kids got pregnant in high school. Things were real in the Connor household. They weren't fake. It was all so realistic to how life really was for so many people in the world. It wasn't this false hope of like the Brady Bunch or the Cosby Show or hell, even the Addams Family. It was just a normal American family. And I'm going to be honest, I was a Connor. Like, we grew up so similar to that. You know, my parents were very much like Roseanne and Dan Connor. They were hardworking. They loved their children. They cared about their children. They worked hard for their children. They sacrificed so much for their children. Their children came first. And as well as they loved each other, they fought like cats and dogs sometimes. And when it took a tragedy like my mom's death to realize how much they really did love each other. But they did. And that's what I think was so endearing about Roseanne and about the show and about all of the characters. You know, my sister is very, very close to Darlene. I call her Darlene sometimes. She's just very, her attitude is so close to Darlene's. And sometimes I think we all have a little Becky and a little DJ and a little bit of all of the kids in us, for sure. I wouldn't even begin to know which one I am. I'm probably a combination of all three of them put together. But I think we definitely grew up that way. And I don't think that, you know, any family in America is perfect. And I think for so long, TV families use that as an escape to make America wish they were a Brady. And when your life really wasn't like that, it was really, really hard for you to deal with. And so many kids felt like they didn't have a normal home life because they weren't, you know, the way that they saw these families portrayed on television. But you know what? I loved it. I loved growing up like that. It taught me so much. And just seeing my dad today and the sacrifices that my dad has made to be my father and to raise me and to love, and he loved my mom to her dying day. That's what life's all about. So it's what we saw on Roseanne. And when my dad and I were able to sit there and talk about how much we loved Roseanne and how Roseanne Barr and her show, John Goodman and Sarah Gilbert and all of the cast of Roseanne, Laurie Metcalf, everybody, how they brought so much joy into our lives growing up. I remember sitting down with my mom and dad watching Roseanne and just laughing our butts off hysterically, like as a family. That was one of the few things we did together. We watched Roseanne. And even my brother and I would watch Roseanne in repeats. And I still watch Roseanne in repeats. I love it. So thank you, Roseanne Barr, for coming into our lives and for being a real American mom and a traditional American mom. And not that I'm knocking Mrs. Cleaver or Mrs. Brady or Mrs. Adams or any of the other Donna Reed or any of the other TV moms, because they were great moms too. They just weren't very realistic like my family. And my family mom was Roseanne. So thank you so much. And to my parents, Mom, you know, I love you, Mom, and I miss you every single day. I miss you every moment. And Dad, I love you so much, man. It has been so great getting to spend these days with you. And thank you both for raising me with a loving family and a loving life. And we weren't perfect, no, by no means. And we had the problems of every other American in the world. But we learned from it, damn it. And we grew into a wonderful, wonderful family. And one of the things that Roseanne said on her show the other night in the new episode is, you know, none of her kids have been to jail yet. And that's how my parents are. So none of us have been, we've all done the best we can. None of us are rich. We all grew up very middle class. you know, just like our parents, but we work hard for our money. We do the right thing, and we continue to do the right thing every day. And it's because of my wonderful parents who were not the perfect American family like Roseanne and Dan, like the Connors. So I wanted to make a video and just say how much I truly, truly love that show, and how much Roseanne and Dan meant to my life and all the kids, and how much just I missed them for 20 years. I'm so glad they're back. It's like Will and Grace and Roseanne and RuPaul, my life are complete. I'm happy now. I got something to watch on Tuesday, which is Roseanne. I got something to watch on Thursday, which is RuPaul and Will and Grace. So it's just going to be wonderful. Am I going to review Roseanne? I don't know. I may talk about the episode each week, but right now I just wanted to say thanks so much, guys. And if you didn't grow up in that kind of lifestyle, you may not understand. But my mom truly, truly loved it, and I know she was up there in heaven, and I'm just looking up there thinking, Mom, I'm sure she was watching it, loving it, and to be able to sit down there and talk to my dad, and just even see how much my dad was like, oh my God, it was so good, I loved it, it was so funny, please call me every week and remind me that it was on, just to see how much joy 20 years later that Roseanne brought to my dad was freaking awesome, just awesome. So thank you, Roseanne, thank you, John Goodman, thank you again, guys, everyone on the cast. I know I keep saying thank you, guys, but you don't understand, to see my 71-year-old dad who has had this really tough life. He lost his son, he's lost his wife, and he struggles every day, to laugh and to have a wonderful conversation about a TV show that brought us so much joy, and to watch it 20 years later and still both of us have the joy of it. I've watched it 4 times, so thank you so much, guys. And anyway, I will talk to you later. Remember, hating is a disease, and some folks need to get well soon. Don't be hating, be like the Connors and just let it go, man. Alright, guys, love you, peace out, peace.